As a youngster, I wasn't quite sure, did I want to be a pianist? Did I want to be a painter? Did I want to be a doctor? I was always busy making something, doing something, drawing something. When I went to public school, I was introduced to oil paints, painting flowers and things that were available in the classroom. And then finally, I was chosen to go to music and art high school, where I could either study art or I could study music. There's a certain frustration when you create and when you recreate. What I found was so tremendously exciting about art was that I was creating. What I didn't find so interesting in music at first was the fact that I had to adhere to the printed page. And that was difficult for me. When we first started playing as a two-piano team, we were at the Ritz-Carlton in Atlantic City. And we were playing some silly little piece by Paul Dini called the Valse Poupée or something. And Melvin was so meticulous as a student, better than I in the beginning. And
not at the end?
No. But what happened is, in this silly little piece, there was a forte and a mezzo piano and a this and such. And this was a transcription of that silly little piece. And Melvin was a stickler. So he said, I want to hear you play your part independently before we put it together. And I was sort of embellishing. I was making a little bit more. He said, you're not watching the piano. You're not watching the mezzo forte. You're not doing this and that. But I was embellishing with some chords. And I thought it made it even better than it was. And he said, you're not doing it correctly. I said, if you say that one more time, I'll tear this up. And he said, you're not doing it correctly. I tore the piece up, and we never had to play it again, which is my greatest conquest when I was probably 19 years of age, that I didn't have to recreate this silly little piece. And you know the piece. It's a cute little piece. It goes, oh, wait, let's see.
You're not playing it forte enough.
Oh, okay.
That's better.
Something. It goes some silly little Italian piece.
This is the general delivery mailbox. You have two new messages. Norman Mel, it's Anda. Just wanted to advise you that I will be attending the ceremony and performance at the Manhattan School of Music and the gala afterwards. Talk to you soon, I hope. Bye.
Very good.
Message recorded on June 4th at 2:31 p.m.
Melvin, it's George Mills returning your call, and just to confirm, I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow evening at 7 at the Friars Club. Talk to you later.
This is the fourth competition that we're venturing into. It's just something that's awe-encompassing. We have to make sure that all the practice rooms will be set. We have to make sure the judges arrive. We have to make sure that everything is set at the Manhattan School of Music. We have lists and lists. Melvin is great for lists. And if I refer to the lists, I'm sure we'd have about 4 pages filled. We just want everything to go without a snafu. And so when all 22 arrive at Steinway Hall, we're just ready to go.
We've never used the word that, let's say, we're nervous. When we played at a concert for 45 years, somebody would come backstage, are you nervous? And we would always say, no, we're concerned. But I would say that, yes, I'm very, very concerned. And I'm concerned because these are young people, and I want them to have a great experience, and I'm concerned that when they play to the best that they can. You're always going to have one or two that will have a problem and so on in one round, but that's my biggest concern. I want them to shine and to be wonderful.
One of the great chores, and it's a wonderful chore, I love it, is making sure we have the correct piano for the competition week.
Grabs it faster.
I'm getting more.
There than here.
I'm just touching the top.
I can, there's two adjustments.
Okay,
One
wait a
is
minute.
how fast it grabs, and
Yeah.
the other is how far it goes down.
Both.
Okay. Give me 5 minutes, 2
Okay.
minutes, go play the other one.
Okay, we'll wait. That's
Well,
okay.
wait, that's fine. What we're looking for is just, it's a minor adjustment in the pedal when you're walking on carpeting. You want to feel in the pedal that you're walking on plush, thick carpeting, not on shag and not on a wooden floor.
Ron, when you check
does,
the
he
pedal,
does that.
can you change the oil too for us?
Welcome to the 4th New York Piano Competition under the auspices of the Stecher and Horowitz Foundation. This is day 1 of the preliminary round of this most exciting competition. They're mature artists sitting on the stage, and they take it so seriously. And it's interesting to see that so many of them seem to go into a trance when they're performing now. They come out and they have this sort of subdued personality, and some of them sit there for almost a minute before they begin playing. And I wonder, should I announce from the balcony, "You may begin now"? Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, they start and they pick up from nothing. It's like they go into 60 miles an hour from zero.
Being here for a whole week, no matter what, you're not eliminated. You're staying here, you have time to show the judges what you can do, over the course of 1 week, instead of you have one chance, one shot, you got to do it. So,
Somebody who has something to say that is their own, that is not an imitation. Even a diamond can be imitated today. But a unique personality, that is special. I don't know what makes it. As my father used to say, a lion is born a baby lion, not a mouse and then turns into a dog, and then turns into something bigger. But a baby lion is a baby lion. And a baby musical personality is a baby musical personality. Let's just pray that it develops.
Many of them refer to the concept that they envision a story when they're playing. Dijou, who returned yesterday after 202, she came and visited us yesterday, and you even reminded her that she said that when she begins, she has a story in her mind, and she goes and lives through this entire story as she's performing this. When the story is over, the chapter ends, and she goes on to the next composition.
They're not creating the piece. They're recreating the piece. And the musical personality is, if they're playing Beethoven, I always love to hear them playing in the style of the composer. If they're playing Beethoven, it's one style. If they're playing the Baroque, it's another style.
We have to find a way, even in playing old music, we have to find a way to honor what they wrote on the page and still have something of ourselves in it. When I read accounts of playing that say, oh, the performer disappeared and there was only the music, that sounds like a really boring performance to me. There's a performer on stage, and there's gotta be some kind of coming together, a meeting of both the composer and the performer. That's the spark that makes a performance.
It's a very emotional experience competing in a competition. They're supposed to be judging your playing, but since we try and put so much of our own individual personality into our playing, a certain part of that is, it's impossible to not take that as them judging you as an individual. So.
What's so exciting about our competition is the age level of 14 to 18, because we feel that if we have them at that age, we're not going to dictate, but we can mentor, we can help them. We've gone through all the pitfalls ourselves. We know what to avoid. I mean, we still have today at this competition, we have two of our contestants from 202 and their accompanists. And for the years, we've been involved with them.
It's Tchaikovsky's first piano concerto. It's the most famous one everyone has come to love. You have to respect the individual if they can actually pull it off, because it's so well known. The standard is much higher. It's very long, very physically demanding, and each person wants to go through it at least a couple of times. So, I mean, you'll end up playing the same 20-minute piece through 10 times in a 3-hour period, and that's, 4 or 5 hour period. It's a lot. It's so famous, you've heard it so many times, and yet every now and then somebody will do something completely new and different. And it's a lot of fun for me to hear that, especially having played the piece myself so many times. A competition is a lot more stressful than a concert. At a competition, you're not just having fun, you're really trying to, you have one chance to prove to them, how good you are. Whereas in a concert, you're just, you're in a different mindset where you're just kind of having fun, and you know that there's going to be many more, and some things will work, some things won't, and there's really no major consequence. Whereas in a competition, a lot of times, not here, but a lot of times, and you're cut the very next round. I'd say it's a necessary evil.
What I see in a lot of children who are taking lessons, their parents really push them and make them practice, and it pays off, 15 years down the road. For me, it was the exact opposite, because my parents never pushed me. Every day before I went to school for my lessons, my mother would say, "Okay, come on, look outside. It's minus 30 degrees Celsius. Do you really want to go? Why don't we stop this? It's okay. You can play the piano once in a while." And I would say, "No, let's go today and I'll quit tomorrow." And this continued for 10 years, And so I guess for every concert, I thank my mother for discouraging me every day. I mean, of course, now looking in retrospect, I wasn't aware about all the other aspects of being a musician. As musicians, we're really, really horrible at making people understand why you do what you do. I was on the plane recently, and this guy starts talking to me, and he asks, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm a pianist." And he said, "Oh, do you write your own music?" I said, "Well, no." And so he's like, "So what do you play?" Well, I said, "I play other people's music." And you know what he asked me? He said, "Is that legal?"
My name is Vivian Chang. I'm 17 years old. I'm actually turning 18 tomorrow. And I'm contestant number 19. Well, actually, I haven't been doing that many competitions during the past few years, mostly just studying and taking lessons and going to school and things like that. So this is actually one of the few competitions that I've done recently. Well, mostly I just try to get in as much into the music as I possibly can and just forget about other factors and just really enjoy myself. I think that's the most important thing, and really just connect with the audience and as kind of like a conversation with them. So I just really enjoy it and put it out there.
I usually just try to tell myself to enjoy the experience. I take a few deep breaths. I try to be peaceful, but it's really difficult. But yeah, I try to just to get into a calm state, basically. Yeah, it's very hard, and it's so nerve-wracking on stage. I carry my handkerchief with me, so that's sort of, even though I don't use it too much, a little bit, it's sort of like my good luck charm, I guess. I enjoy playing romantic music a lot because it's so free and you can do so much with it. I just really feel it in my heart.
We're talking about two ex-former students of Rudolf Serkin, one of the great pianists and musicians of our century, the past century and such, and having the distinguished jurors here who are students of Rudolf Serkin, and they are interpreting now their concepts of how the way you were taught. It's a privilege to have them here, and for other students now to reap the harvest of what's going on with music today. So I think they're very privileged to have you.
What he did was teach us how to think. I felt when I went to him that I didn't even know how to read music when he was pointing out everything that I missed in the score. But the beauty of it is that he didn't make you play anything a particular way, so that if you listen to any of his former students, we don't sound alike. It was not a factory. We didn't come out playing everything the same way. We just obeyed the score and then did what we wanted with it.
That's not true of some of the teachers of that period.
Exactly.
I mean, names unknown or not mentioned. I mean, my colleagues and so, many of them sounded exactly like they were pressed from the same old. Exactly. Maybe that's why Serkin students did so much better.
So I hear you're a student of Rachmaninoff. You were a former student.
Oh my gosh, that's 80 years ago practically.
So what was he like?
What was he like?
As a teacher?
As a teacher, he was the greatest composer, and he had different ideas. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be thinking about music the way I do today.
Wow.
He had futuristic ideas that ordinary piano teachers just didn't have. Ordinary piano teachers are inclined to teach the way their teachers taught them. Mm-hmm. And they teach very well. But it also means that they teach in a style that was prevalent at least 20 or 30 years ago. Mr. Rachmaninoff never fancied himself a piano teacher. He was a composer, and he taught me to look at music in the way composers look at music, as a piece of architecture, so that it doesn't matter when the music was composed. If you figure out the architecture behind it,
right,
you know what to do with the music.
Wow.
And nobody else thought that way in
I
those
bet.
days.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
Completely different. It's a different
You're so fortunate to have that.
That's right.
He's actually one of my favorite composers.
You have good taste.
Thank you.
You were going to continue with the piano? Or is it something that you decided at the...
It was the freshman year of
college,
and I think it was my second semester going into it. I was like, this is not really for me. But yeah, it was great. I think it was a lot of fun doing that when I was in high school. But I just grew to an age where I wanted to try something else.
I think she had a personality.
Thank you.
Personality. No, but anyway, because I still remember your Mozart, and I still remember your Dances Argentina, and
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go and.
Guys.
Nice to meet you.
Good luck to you. You too. Bye. How have you guys been?
Phenomenal.
Thank you.
You really do.
Thank you.
Are you happy?
Yes, very much so.
I
missed you guys. Thank you. I've been wanting to call you guys, and I feel horrible for putting
Don't feel so horrible, we're here.
Because it's on my list of things to do. I will call now.
Well, here you are.
But
we said we'll never let you go. And we just...
And I still remember your performance.
Yeah.
The Mozart D minor concerto, right?
Yep.
And which was fantastic.
Of course, the Hinastera.
The Hinastera was fantastic.
Where are you at school now? What year?
I finished school.
Oh,
I
you
graduated.
finished?
Yep, I graduated from New School University,
Great.
and I did film production. Actually, in the film world, you're kind of on your own when.
But it gets your creative juices going.
Yes, you have more freedom.
Sure.
But I do miss being taken by the hand.
That's when you'll take your child.
Whenever you want to be taken by the hand, call me.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll see you guys around. I'll be.
Good. Okay.
We should definitely catch up.
Great.
Okay. Have fun with the competition.
Thank you.
It wasn't until 8th grade that I started taking it seriously, because I had met a teacher at the time, and she really inspired me. I wanted to be her. She was this very cool, very tall Russian woman, and she was very young at the time. She was, I think, 29, and she just had this personality on stage. And when I saw her play, I was like, I want to be her. She's so cool. Competition, I viewed it at the time as like a necessary evil. I didn't like the idea of going and competing with other people and seeing who was better, who was not good, because I felt that defeated the whole purpose of music. You know, every day my teacher expected me to practice a lot, like 8 hours and up. So you're in a small practice room with a little window, and then you felt like your whole life was flashing by, and then you're at the keyboard. It no longer felt fulfilling. Piano was a very difficult life. You really didn't have much of a social life, and I think my personality, I could only keep myself on that track for so long.
This 4's got an and on it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and, right?
Did I
You're
count
a little late.
Okay.
Were you late?
I think I was late.
1, 2, 3.
Pianists, and very often it's a lonely life, and We just play, and we play our solo repertoire. We learn it, and we learn how to react with ourselves and with an audience. But when you have to react to someone else, now that makes a more perfect musician out of you. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to play and to make music and to interact with another musician.
One more time.
We just have been going through our pieces slowly, and we worked a lot on musicality and on balancing as well, because everyone can get the notes together, or most people can, once you get to this level. But the thing that really makes a difference is showing that you can balance and really listen well to the other player as well. And so we're really trying to focus on balancing to the point where when you're listening to it, you're just not saying, oh, well, the notes are together. It's like, oh, wow, this is really a true piece of music that two people are creating. Is it fun? It's a lot of fun, yeah.
For us pianists, oh my God, that piano is really hard to play. Let's just put it that way.
My mom was telling me, she was listening to me playing, she's like, your tone's just really soft and like, we can't hear you that well. I'm like, oh, I'm trying my hardest. It's like the piano's just really hard.
It's almost impossible to play really fast 16th notes or 32nd notes or whatever. It's almost impossible to get a louder than average sound out of it. It's harder to get, well, basically it's hard to get like the extremes of both ends of dynamics.
Guys, I have to tell you something. The problem with us pianists is that every time we have to play on a different piano, and we never know what we're going to get. If we're lucky enough, we might get some practice time on the concert hall before the concert. If we're not, sometimes we might not. So the main thing is always you have to adjust your playing and do the best you can on the instrument you have. Yeah, so let's play louder. But not the berceuse though. Let's start.
Berceuse.
Accompaniment, but it's very much depends on the art of the accompanist, right? Make sure you think of your interval between B and E and then release. So you shape it better that way. Instead of doing all the same. Okay, so let me just hear you one more time.
I try and actually come up with a story with the music. It helps me play it more emotional, and it helps my memory too. I came up with a story about a crew of sailors at sea, and there was a huge tempest, and just these waves going up and down and plastering against the boat. And as many people probably know, there's a quieter middle section, and that's where the captain falls overboard and he's underwater, and the sounds are kind of muffled and a little bit more distant. And then when it comes back to the forte parts, it's when he emerges out of the water and is back in the midst of the storm. Trying to experience it. I think if you're in the midst of those emotions, you'll play your music more musically and more heartfelt.
I love this. There it is going. Oh.
Thank you. I feel pretty good. Yeah, a few little things, but it was good overall. And so,
A plus. Oh, the emotion was just amazing. It was.
Thanks.
It was great.
Thank you.
I think it was just what you wanted. Yeah. It was great.
Thanks.
Good day?
Yeah, good. When can we eat?
Good day. When can we eat?
I'm hungry.
You look great.
Okay.
How many dresses do you bring with you?
I have another one and then one for ensemble.
So you're having one for each round?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one for the preliminary. Now this is the semi, then you can have one for the final. And what are you going to do for the ensemble round?
I have a black dress.
Oh, so that's 4.
Yeah.
How many different kinds of shoes?
Like just 2 kinds of shoes.
Only 2?
Yeah.
Are they both good for pedaling?
Yeah. For my performance, I think about what to wear. I try to look the nicest I can and prepare the most I can with each of my pieces and try to make it a little more personal so that it will be a little different. I do try to match the pieces with my dresses so that it can probably intensify the moods of each piece perhaps.
You can call it eccentricity, or you can call it personality. We were talking about the wonderful thing when 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds can really identify with a piece of music and do something that makes an impression. But immediately it goes too far, it seems false. So even with young people, it's impossible to create an aura that seems real.
I think anybody who's going to make it is going to have a very strong personality that nobody taught him to have. Nobody molds them into a particular type to attract attention. I think it's very much like whatever charisma a politician has, where does it come from? And I think the same thing happens in music. Those who have that special charisma, it's within them.
Are you going to use a page turner with the Musto?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I use my copy?
What?
Can I use my copy?
Of course, you use your copy, sure. You got all the fingering in it?
Huh?
Sure, use yours.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I like music that's marked up. Sure. You're playing this and the Liszt Hungarian Rhapsody. Number 2.
We have this new work by John Musto, and there are going to be 22 performances of this particular piece. Now, no one has heard this work performed anywhere. So they are recreating what they see on the page according to the instructions that the composer gave.
They wanted a piece 10 minutes long for a pianist age 14 to 18. I have a 14-year-old boy, and there's a huge difference between 14 and 18 in terms of just their own personal development and physical development and hands and things like that. So I was concerned about the level of difficulty, and I also had never written a piece that I had to be concerned about a level of difficulty, to tell you the truth. I just wrote what I needed to write.
Well, I've done a few contemporary works, and the Muster was a pretty difficult piece to learn. There's a lot of very strange harmonies, and the rhythm is also very difficult to coordinate between the two hands. There's a ton of notes, so it's a handful to play.
Well, this is a very strong piece, very, very strong piece. And it's also extremely difficult. And boy, I'm glad that the only contest I entered that had a required piece was Clyburn, and it was nowhere near as hard as this, and I'm glad it wasn't, because you have to spend a lot of time learning it. And some of these young people have done a very remarkable job of learning this very, very difficult work. Boy, yeah, it's nice to be young and learn quickly.
The Musto it's really, really hard and fast and crazy. You know, we meet him on Thursday, and I think I'm gonna ask him to play it. I wanna see if he can play it. And then what he was thinking about when he was composing. My mom thinks it sounds like New York. It's all busy and loud. I don't know. We'll have to find out what he thinks.
I look forward to learning this piece, actually. I haven't played it yet.
You haven't?
No, I don't. I went from writing this piece to writing another piece to going to California to teach to going to Europe, and I just got back.
It was one of my best performances I've ever done, I feel like. It was just amazing because, I don't know, everything just, it was the first time I've been on stage, and I've just been like, it felt like I've been in a practice room, and I just had complete control over what I was doing, and I even like added things as I was going just because it felt the right moment, so. My competition in Schiller in Italy a couple summers ago, it was the same way, and like after I was done, I felt really empowered because I felt like it was the first time I'd actually been able to do my own interpretation, like while I was on stage, but like this was one of the first times I've just really felt on throughout the whole thing.
You play good. What? What?
But I had memory spots that I could go if I get lost.
Yeah.
I forgot those.
I know.
Oh, I couldn't finish the piece.
Oh my god, I'm so depressed.
This is the hatred.
I don't want to. I have to see my mom, but I don't want to. If you heard it, then you would understand and you would be able to comfort me. But oh my god.
It happens.
Oh my god.
You were shaking us. It's okay.
It's more than winning or not winning. It's playing to your best ability, and sometimes you do, and you feel really good. And when you feel you walk out there and you think, I could play about 10 times better, and that's when you really feel pretty bad. So,
I'm gonna dwell on it for a little while, okay? It's okay.
Pop, 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 pop. Now it's different than what we had before, which is really staccato. Now, it's dramatic. It's telling a story. So really take over. Use the pedal a little bit for this too. You can pedal every note, or you can pedal some of them as you like, as long as you don't smudge them up. But it'll give you that extra dimension to the articulation. Why don't we go from there so we can see the contrast? Okay. Doing it, but it's not quite, especially in the left hand. I use the pedal to help too. So I play longer, but also use the pedal for the sonority.
That's it. It's too much retard. I can't feel where the beats are at all. Keep the pulse, keep the life going.
Okay, just a couple of questions. Now, first thing, is this piece hard? Do you think this piece is hard? Do you think this piece is hard?
Maybe, yeah.
Do you think this piece is hard? Yeah, do you think it's hard? Yeah, this is like one of the hardest etudes there. This is a terribly hard etude. It has a very hard reputation. Very, very hard reputation. If you want to play an etude, if you're in competition, when there's a lot of etudes, and you know that the jury won't hear all of them, but you really want to make sure they'll hear one in particular, to pick something which is really hard. The jury always wants to hear something which is really hard. I mean, that's just, we're only human beings. They'll always pick this one.
Good, now, you're very clean, so why do you need to pedal?
Okay.
I mean, less pedal, I think. We're not... solo is okay, but not. You don't. In tempo.
I had one student, I begged her every lesson for 2 months to tape herself. Finally, after 2 months, she came and she said, I taped myself. I said, wonderful, what did you hear? She said, oh, it was so terrible, I wouldn't listen to it. So that, I just want you to know, we all feel that way. It's horrible. This is the self-examination with a magnifying glass. You don't want to hear it, but you'll learn more than your teacher can tell you. And by the way, before I leave here, I would like everybody to know that not one of us on the jury has any idea of what the results are. We don't know, and just talking to my colleagues, I can tell you that our votes were all over the place. Probably if you didn't win or get a prize, somebody did vote for you. That's all I want you to know, that you shouldn't go away feeling, oh, nobody likes me if you don't get something, because it's not like that.
I mean, it can be very destructive if you enter a lot of competitions, because then you start to think, well, what should I do differently, and why didn't I win, and all kinds of things happen. It's almost, I mean, it's not a lottery, but a lot of things enter into it, and it's very bad to try to second guess your playing. When I listen, I don't listen to hear perfection. I listen to be moved.
You know, when it comes down to it, it's really the music. That's it. It's Chopin and it's Tchaikovsky and everything. That's why I'm doing this.
When I was in competitions, I was so nervous. I remember walking on the stage in Moscow and feeling like I was going to my execution in the gas chamber.
As each year goes, the young people, their repertoire is getting more and more difficult. It's always felt that way when I was growing up. And like each year, there's always a younger girl or a boy playing a more difficult piece that even pianists in their, doctorate programs are struggling with, and they're 14 and they're playing it.
Okay, how did you feel about the performance today?
I don't know, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it's like it never comes out the way you want it to.
I know,
but
every performance is different, but overall, I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we did enough of what we thought we were going to do that.
Yeah, because no performance is perfect.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
Yeah. But it was musical.
At the end of every competition, there's a certain amount of relief and a sense of accomplishment. After all the work that goes into it, for better or for worse, you really just feel great, like you've achieved something. Take the whole experience and see it as a learning tool to help guide you through life and into the next competition, the next part of your career, the next step. The next time it'll be a little bit easier.
What do you want to measure?
Psychology or economics.
Really?
Yeah.
Not music.
Well, playing music, but not major.
Psychology.
Yeah.
Is that to find out why you practice so many hours?